welcome to the Double D Experience, brought to you by Coca-Cola, where, yeah. Anyways, this is David.
That Coke money.
Yeah.
Use some of that. I can use some of that to help out with my impending legal troubles.
He has a lawsuit pending.
Yeah, if you have some advice, Dennis, I could use it for this upcoming lawsuit.
What do you need advice on, my friend?
It's this upcoming issue that I'm having that it's totally not made up in my head, and partially isn't, to be honest. Last night we had a bit of an excursion. We'll talk about that in a bit. And as part of that excursion,
it was a fun time.
We debated driving to get some food, me and the boys. We decided to walk there because it's a beautiful local spot in my town, and the food was fire. We'll get to that in a little bit. But if we were fortunate enough to actually have 4 people in my motor vehicle at the time, whichever one of you would have wound up sitting in the back right seat in my car, my sick 2012 Honda Accord, you would have noticed something down there below the front right seat. You would have noticed a laptop. There's a laptop in my car.
Yes.
It's been there for quite some time. And it has been there for quite some time because I have to dispose of it. This is the silly topic that I was bringing up to you for now, Dennis. And we'll start the episode with this one, I suppose. That was my old laptop. My first ever laptop. It's a Hewlett-Packard that was given to me by my parents in the year of our Lord, Christmas of 2012. And... I used to play TF2 on it, right? Okay. Eventually, as I needed better hardware for my studies back when I was in college and whatnot, that laptop got demoted. And as a man in America, or a straight man in America, in a state where pornography is not banned, when a man's piece of technology gets demoted, that's when it starts to serve a very singular purpose in his life. I don't need to go into too much detail anymore for you to imagine what that is. Now then, there is a very popular porn game that is on the hard drive of said laptop. I cannot charge the computer to delete said porn game before I dispose of said computer, because the lithium battery inside of the laptop is kaput. I can no longer charge this laptop. And what that means is that there is a, dare I say, incriminating, embarrassing levels of porn game on the hard drive of that computer that I cannot get rid of. Now granted, we all look at certain things from time to time, as long as it's within the realm of legality, as long as it's something that's not like so copiously fucked up to the point where if somebody saw it, at the very best thing that would happen to you is you get canceled. Very worst is, FBI, open up. Yeah. That's the worst. I am not incriminating myself in any way and saying there's illegal shit on this laptop. There isn't. Don't worry about that. But it's fetish shit. All right, it's some kink shit. I'm not gonna hold you. It had some very, let's just say, advanced milfy tendencies to go with it. And that game or a very earlier build of it is permanently stuck on the hard drive of that laptop. And the only reason it's still in my car is because I have not learned how to dispose of it yet. I cannot donate it to a spare parts place. That means the hard drive is still intact, and I cannot risk that being discovered. You know the scene in Ted 2 where like Ted goes to like John's like laptop, and he goes like, "What the fuck? There's so much porn in here. What the hell is this, Johnny? Are chicks with dicks?" "There are no chicks with dicks, Johnny. Only guys with tits." That is and it's like, what are you doing going through my personal shit? It's like, personal shit, it's all on the fucking desktop. Like, it's right here when I opened it, you fucking freak. That is not what I have. I'm not a fucking porn addict in that sense. But that game is still on there somewhere. And I can't remove it because I can't charge the laptop.
I have a solution.
What do I do?
I have a solution. Give me your laptop. I'll yank it open, grab the hard drive, wipe it, and I can give it back to you if you so wish. It's not that hard.
How do I know you're not going to take the hard drive? And
You don't. That's up to you.
I don't know, man. How can I trust you? You're gonna fucking.
We've been doing this show for how many years? You don't trust me, guys? I'm hurt.
You're gonna
actually.
incriminate me,
hurt.
man. You came
Incriminate
to me.
you how?
You came
I'm not
to me.
even gonna look inside what is in the hard drive.
You came to me one day and you said, Father Zeus said the minute I dog you, I get the title of main DDE host, which doesn't even make sense. We're both the main hosts of it, but now you have a way. Now you have a way. You can be like, hey guys, look what David Jack's off to. Look at this fucking like visual novel, fucking freak. Guy needs a fucking story to get his nut out.
Everyone's got their niches.
I suppose so, yes. And it's nothing to be ashamed of, but you know,
No.
people kink shame in the real
just so
world
specific.
nowadays. It's so specific, and people. Well, actually, no. There's actually a bunch of different like fetishes in that game, but I'm not into all of it. Like, there's just
No,
a
but
couple.
like using a game to like get off. Like,
Oh,
for
dude, you
most-
can hundreds of thousands of dollars
what? I
donated
know.
to the Patreon of that fucking game. It was hugely popular. It really was. Even for
That's
people
what
who
I'm
just
saying,
like
though,
visual
like-
novels, it was a really good visual novel too.
That's what I'm saying. Like, as far as like niches go, it's like okay, like you know, everyone's got them, but you know, for me, I'm just old Joe who just watches the porn on the hub and do my thing, and then I'm off to the races again. Like you know, I don't need like you know, as far as like stimulation goes, like you know, like everyone like again has their niches. But the hundreds of millions you told me just now is actually crazy.
Yeah,
Holy
and that
fuck.
developer fucked off too. He fucked
Did he
off with
really?
the money. He hasn't updated the game in years.
Damn.
He fucked off with it. You can't trust those Patreon scams, dude. You can't. Even like for Kickstarter games that want, it was an ongoing project, is what it was, and now it's been in development hell, quote unquote, for years. And
Always
granted,
has.
I don't give a fuck. It's a porn game. You can watch videos of it online. I use it as a means to an end. It's like not like I'm invested in that sense, but
It's just like oh yeah, like I love the plot, man. It's like oh yeah, I love the plot too. All two of them.
it was a decent plot. It was a decent plot too. Decent plots, yeah, very big plots. But here's the thing. The only other thing I could think to do is to do what Ted and Johnny did and fucking smash it like Goodfellas style.
You could if you want. Yeah.
Would you be down to
It'd
do
more
that
fun.
with me?
It'd be more fun, yeah. One thing I would love to do is take it to a shooting range and like just fucking go nuts with it. Like I would love. That would be amazing. I know, you know, every time like we've seen in movies, it's like all dudes like out in the backyard shooting cans with their dad's like 9mm. I know, like you know, it's like kind of a little risky, you know, as far as just anyone like handling a gun, I suppose, especially like people who are not trained to do so.
Yeah.
But like going to a shooting range and like kind of just asking the guys like, hey, can we put this laptop as a target over there across the range, and just kind of like have us go nuts, like just fucking riddle it like Swiss cheese and just have it almost unrecognizable by the end.
I would hope that they would be down for that, but I'm scared that like they'd be like, oh, the glass is gonna pop around
Battery
everywhere. It's
too,
not
like
safe.
you know the acid.
the battery too. Well,
Yeah. So
it
if anything, we just have to take out the battery, and I think everything will be fine. Because
it is a
practically
completely dead battery, though. Like the whole
That's why,
problem
like,
is I can't charge it to just remove the porn off of it.
Is it detachable, the battery?
Is
it one of those, or like okay, so you could just like slide it out?
I don't even know if there are screws at the bottom to like open it, and that's part of the reason that I think we have to just like destroy it.
We could just run it over.
You don't know how paranoid I am, though, Dennis. I feel like Ted in the fucking movie was just like, nah, even after we destroy the hard drive, somebody could find it and fucking glue it together.
No.
And fucking glue it together, put it back. We gotta go deeper. And then they fucking scuba dive to like the bottom of like the Boston Harbor and bury it in the sand.
We'd like fucking go to the Hackensack River and just like dump it in there. And like just gone. Like it's just nobody will ever find this. Like
Dennis, we have talked about some very serious things. I have confided like some of my darkest things with you. Stories from my my past, my self-esteem and self-confidence issues, my past relationships. I've told you my fucking fetishes before, man.
Yeah.
Like we
and I've been unimpressed with every single one of the fetishes.
I know you have. Thank you for that. The point is, I've confided in you, and never in my life, in this moment, this is what the topic is for today. I am calling on you right now. Never in my life have I needed you. Have I needed my best friend to guide me through this dark, horrible chapter in my life than removing porn off of an old laptop that I can't use anymore.
Okay.
Will you walk with me to the spires of Mount Gacarito to throw it into the volcano and sacrifice my visual porn novel game to the gods?
I wish we did have a volcano so that we could do that too. Like,
oh yeah, I'd love to live next to a volcano.
No. Like, it's actually dormant, but like, you know, we just like you could visit it if you want. Like, you know, it's just like that kind of attraction, like the way. God rest Hawaii. Oh shit. Oh my God, my stomach.
I heard that. Methinks the Gyro King is coming back with a vengeance.
I still have my leftovers too, by the way. Oh yeah, guys, by the way, in Teaneck, there is a great halal place called Gyro King. I don't know how recent it is, but the two guys working there, you guys are awesome if you ever decide to listen to this shitty podcast. The place was great, the food was great, vibes was great too, and everything. Any of y'all that live around Jersey and like you guys live around the Teaneck area, definitely go and check them out, support your local businesses and such, because the food was fire. And to a certain extent, I even kind of like them more than Halal guys, even though, I mean, you know, Halal guys, even despite the fact that it's like become so franchised now, like I still like them, you know, of course, like Halal guys is still good, but I've gone to so many other like halal places now where like it's not even like it's not top 3 no more for me. Like it's top 5. It's like bottom 5. It's like it's number 5 on that list. And,
I would still put Juicy Platters above Halal guys most of the time for me, but like, yeah, I don't know. A good platter, man. A good halal platter trumps
good shawarma,
protein.
Good halal.
It's delicious. Hey, that's a topic that we could talk about today. Not even just halal food. I'm talking about, like, you know, just the fact that what reason do we possibly have to ever in our lives order fast food when we can go to your local spot and get way more food for less?
That is true, but there are still plenty of local places that somehow are more expensive than fast food. I mean, you know, it's like you can, like, it also is in proportion to kind of what you're getting, because like, let's say for a typical fast food meal, it's like burger, fries, and drink. So like, you know, nowadays it's like fast food itself is also pretty expensive. Everything has, you know, obviously gone up since like the last like couple of months. And like inflation just being what it is, like of course like it's affecting everybody, and like inflation of course like is no stranger to local businesses as well. But at the very least, it's like, you know, I think it's all kind of determinant like on like what you believe your money's worth is. And for me, it's like I couldn't even finish that shit at Gyro King. So at the very least, I had leftovers, plus I had, you know, whatever amount that I had that night as well. So it's like definitely, you know, got my money's worth. I've been to plenty of places too where like I went to this one, I guess like Jewish type of diner / restaurant, and their serving sizes were literally huge. Like it actually shocked me like how big portions wise like everything was. The price was also kind of reflective on that, because I went with a couple of friends, and some of the like for both of them, they actually got dishes that like when they brought it out, I was like, this is meant for 3 people, easy. Like, ain't no way like a single person's gonna eat this by themselves. It's like there was one thing called like the they called like a King David, and it was like these 4 separate like kind of pastrami sort of sandwiches, and each and every one of them like I feel as if like could have fed 1 person each, and he only got 2. He got 4 of those. He only could eat 2 of them, and then he just said like, I can't no more. Like this, I cannot finish it.
Could
and,
I
like,
eat the King David? Could I, David, eat the King David?
Of course you could eat the King David, because you are David.
You think I would actually get around to that?
I think you would. Although the place we went to was in Livingston, so it's kind of far. from over where we're at. It's at least like a 40-minute drive on I-80, and just like just fucking bolt, like just barreling down it like for a good 40 minutes until you take that exit. But I think, yeah, going back to kind of just like how, at least, you know, nowadays, like, because I've seen like how expensive like even food is, like I always try my best now to kind of like make food at home as much as I can, because like, you know, eating out is very much like a luxury for a lot of people nowadays. I feel like, even if like, okay, like you have like a pretty comfortable lifestyle and like you have money, and like, you know, food is like, at least eating out like that, or even ordering from DoorDash is not that big of an issue, like money wise. It's still like objectively like pretty expensive getting from DoorDash, getting from Uber Eats, like everywhere else, like, you know, that you could think of, like just eating out in general, like when you already have food at home. If you're not one of those people where like, okay, you already have food at home and you already grocery shopped, you know, for the week or for like 2 weeks, you know, okay, like sure. But, you know, as far as like, let's say if you already have food at home, typically for me, it's like nowadays, like I used to be very not frugal with my money when it came to food, especially because like it just didn't seem like that big of a deal. But eating out, let's say every day, and then you kind of seeing like those costs, like, or like the amount of money you're spending for the week, let's say on top of everything else, right? Not trying to be like a financial advisor here, but at least food is an expense that I think like if you can, it's probably one of the most deceptive sort of expenses that you'll ever see.
Oh, my whole credit card bill.
Yeah.
My whole credit card bill is just food. And like what you're saying is just, you know, part of becoming an adult.
Yeah.
You know, when like, you know, you're a kid in the back of your mom's car and like you'd be like,
Oh, bro,
Mommy, I want McDonald's.
Yeah.
Mommy, I want McDonald's.
Yeah, it's like when you already have like food at home.
That's what your mom says. We have food at home. Once you become an adult, you're like, she was right.
Mm-hmm.
She was right. We have food at home. I pack lunches for myself for my job for the first time ever.
What's some food? What's some dishes you make for yourself, my friend?
Oh, I make myself a fucking gourmet delicacy that would make fucking Ramsey jealous.
I love how Ramsey's the only chef we know in the world. It's like there's probably several different kinds.
No, there's a bunch of other ones that I know from the...
Yeah, but we just always know Ramsey. He's like the fucking George Washington of chefs or something. Like everyone just fucking knows him as like the chef.
Mount Rushmore of TV chefs. Yeah, no, I make myself a peanut butter and banana sandwich.
Ooh, okay.
I pack some fucking Belvita cookies in there on the side.
Okay.
Sometimes I'll make myself a little ham and Munster cheese sandwich and whatnot.
Shit, okay.
And yeah, just in the guise of being fiscally responsible, because it's like you want to talk about this from both like an economical and a sociological standpoint at this stage of the game. You know, even in my sociology classes back in college, they would tell us like, you know, why do people eat fast food? Is it because they just cannot resist like the sultry melty cheese on top of dead cow beef of the Baconator at Wendy's? Partially for some people, yes. You know, you got it. You know, I just love the spicy sting of Popeyes in my mouth every day. On my laugh.
My arteries feel it too.
My steady diet of straight ass. No, it ain't just that. What it really was about back in the day, it's a displacement thing. You know, fast food is cheap.
Yeah.
It's because it's cheap. You can go to McDonald's and you can get like a whole full meal of like a burger and fries and a drink and even like another side dish in there for like $5. Or Wendy's, you got the 4 for $4, which I know I see a lot of young people order and whatnot when they're trying to like save money.
Which is actually also responsible. I mean, you get good value out of it.
It is,
Used to be, at least. Used to be.
It is. But we have reached such a stage of late stage fucking capitalism at this point of like America, basically, that we've reached the point where both fast food is not only terrible for you, but the financially responsible option if you have to spend money or get food outside of your grocery.
Anymore.
It's not financially responsible anymore. It's expensive as shit now.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah.
You could go to Wendy's and get like a full meal. It's like costs you like well over $15 now. And Wendy's is still one of the cheaper ones where you get it like for less. You can get like some pretty cheap stuff at Wendy's still like 12. Taco Bell still is known for being the cheapest.
It can rack up.
It can rack up still, but Taco Bell
especially if you're buying for family.
I guess. And the reason I'm saying this is because I'm going to throw it on screen right now. The adventure we had with the boys last night walking to this place. Look at this fucking amount of food that I got for $11.
Minus no drink.
With no drink, yes.
Yeah, with no
with
drink.
no drink, it was $11. Look at that. I couldn't finish it. After
So
we came
good.
back to watch the movie, I had to finish the rest of the food because I downed a protein shake after I came home from the gym. You see what I'm getting at right now? The local spots where you can get real food.
Yeah.
Not
Cooked
like,
in front of you.
Not hockey puck cow ass that like you'll get at like McDonald's.
Mm-hmm.
Or like, those flame broiled Whoppers made of like, the horse lips and booty meat.
To be fair though, I would still eat a Wendy's, McDonald's, or Burger King burger. Like, I think at this point,
would too.
yeah. But
And
it's just
I
like,
have.
if I had to do a toss-up, I probably would just go for a more local place than, fast food, because fast food's also not that much cheaper anymore, like, as we said. Like,
Exactly.
It's really not. Like,
So what is its purpose now? Just like for slave labor? While all the other jobs are being taken by AI, the real ones, so we could just have like everybody have to work like cheap level slave labor wage jobs that you would do at like McDonald's or Wendy's? What's the point then? Because you can get not only way more food, but healthier food that will probably taste even better than like these like spots like Wendy's or like your fast food spots for less money. That is the stage of late stage capitalism that we're at, where these local places are not only like the financially responsible choice, they're the what's the word? The ergonomically responsible choice as well. That's the stage that we're at. Fast food is literally supposed to be shittier food that the price is reflected by. Now, that's not even really the case no more.
Another spot that I think has kind of been affected by that late stage capitalism that we're talking about is Chinese takeouts. They're not even that cheap either anymore. They used to
really?
be. No, like a lot of places that I've been to, at least maybe this is just because like around my neck of the woods, it's more of like a bit more of an expensive kind of neighborhood. So like Fort Lee, Cliffside Park, and a few of those places, like they're like, Fort Lee especially is like very much well to do now. Like I think more than it's ever been than the last like kind of 10 years that like, it's been around. And just because like a lot of the newer people coming in is from New York, and they're essentially kind of pouring in money into there because like those people that are coming in from New York are buying a lot of those big apartments that we kind of see like when we're driving around there. And I guess you could even argue like, okay, like they're also like kind of stimulating the town's like economy in a way, which, I guess like, to a certain extent you could argue that, because New York people, for the most part, if they're moving over here, that means they have money to move here to begin with anyways. So
Yeah.
like typically like, that's going to help. But, back in the day, at least when I was around in Fort Lee, there was a lot more cheaper spots over there than there is now. Even Korean food for the most part. Like, I mean, well, this was also kind of reflective of kind of the economy back then to kind of how it is now, because right now it's pretty bad objectively. But like, especially for like when a lot of Korean spots that I used to go to, a lot of them are gone. And a lot of the places that have been that have come to replace those spots, they're very much like not exactly like food that should be expensive, but it is. Like, pho, even Korean Chinese fusion, and even Chinese takeout as well. Those places, for the most part, like they're either gone or the costs have gone up so much that it's like not even in that realm of like kind of not affordable like food, but like more so just kind of like cheaper food, in which we thought like, okay, like I could just go drop less than $10, have a great meal, and then just get the fuck out of there. But for a lot of like places now, it just seems where like the costs again have gone up so high that, one could even argue, oh, this is brokey talk and shit. Like, yeah, to a certain extent, maybe. But it's just like, facts is facts. Like, a lot of places that we've been to or we've gone to for so long have now just gone up so high cost-wise that they're not even, we can't even say that, like, they're cheap no more. They're, like, on par with everywhere else that we've seen in the past, like, couple months, where it's, like, the costs have gone up so high that, like, at this point, like, I might as well even just go to Cheesecake Factory. Because it's like, I could still get, like, I mean, Cheesecake Factory is still Cheesecake Factory. But, like, my whole point is that, like, the costs have gone up so high for a lot of those cheaper places that, like, fuck it, I might as well just go to Cheesecake Factory then. The argument is that, like, okay, like, at least for Cheesecake Factory, like, I could get a decent meal for like maybe a good amount of money. Like portions wise, like you'll probably get like a good amount. But, you know, for fast food especially, like you could even argue like, well, how is it a burger and fries and fucking drink is nearly $12 to $13? Or even fuck, a chicken sandwich meal is like even upwards of like 12 to 13. And like, you know, at that point it's like, fuck it, I might as well just go to an actual restaurant and eat. So like, you know, when it comes to at least like, you know, local businesses too, it's almost the same argument. A lot of cheap places I've been to, Chinese takeout especially, like lunch specials aren't even that cheap no more. Lunch specials used to be $5 for some spots that I knew. And now they're like upwards to 10 to 12 for the same fucking shit that's always been like given. Platter plus drink and super egg roll. But it's still fucking apparently $12. So like, you know, at this point it's like, you know, why even like kind of go to those cheaper places? Like some spots that I've been to like at least have been pretty consistent, but not to like, let's say not nowhere to the levels of how Arizona iced tea has been 99 cents for fucking years. It's nowhere near like that level.
I think I saw one. It could have been faked because it's online. It's whatever. I could have sworn I saw one that said it was $1.30.
Really?
And if that's the case, because I almost worked for
We're
Arizona.
in trouble.
I almost worked for Arizona Iced Tea once, and like they had their 99-cent things plastered all over that factory that I was inside of when they were interviewing me to be a merchandiser for them.
Yeah.
I turned down the job like many years ago, but if you remember, like many years ago, that was the story where I met that janitor lady.
Yeah.
that was crazy. They took great pride in saying, like, despite inflation, despite, like, capitalism, whatever, despite, like, late-stage capitalism, we will always be 99 cents. We take pride in the fact that our product is the brand of affordability, if you would. And it could have been a fake one I saw online, because it's something, it could have been rage bait, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That's the word I think they're going with now. Wow, I sound old. But, yeah, it's like, I totally agree. Like, you know, our generation kind of has, like, the fuck it mentality when it comes to money now, and then the older ones will be like, why aren't you guys more responsible with your money? It's because you fucked the world for us.
Yeah.
Because you guys are idiots, and you are the dumbest generation of all time. That's why. It's like, literally, we might as well just spend a couple extra dollars, like, at these, like, fucking, like, Cheesecake Factory places or something more expensive, when it's not that much more expensive than what the cheaper options, quote unquote, are supposed
what we
to
thought
be.
Was the cheaper options as well. Like,
and truth be told, last time I got Chinese food, I wish I could remember how expensive it was, because it makes me really sad to hear that, like, those hole in the wall Chinese spots as well
still expensive,
are having to jack up their prices that badly too. And I feel like some companies are, like, slowly increasing wages. Like, the wage at my job is actually quite good for, you know, it being a, you know...
What it is.
Like for it being, like, a relatively, like, useless, like, retail job, to be honest. I mean, it's not useless. I have some responsibilities, I guess, but they're fewer and farther between than a lot of the people that I'm in the actual store with. Which sucks, because I know I make more than a lot of them. And it's, like, it's kind of dumb how that works. Obviously, I'm not going to complain, but, yeah. So while some companies are doing that and, like, wages are increasing, I know some other vendors who are in that very same store who are still only paid, like, $16 an hour. And, like, you can't even survive off of that anymore because of how bad it is now. It's a matter of, like, late-stage capitalism. It's really another reflection of just, like, how, like, you know, more than, what is it, like, fucking 7 or 6 people own, like, half of America's wealth. Or some shit, or like half the world's wealth or some shit like that, which is fucking actually insane. Really, almost every single problem, and I do mean this, almost every single fucking problem, not just economic, but social as well, like in socioeconomic, would be solved if the wage gap was addressed. But, you know, obviously the people in power don't want to change that because they're bought and paid for because of Citizens United and whatnot, and the people who are at the top own our politicians, which is a whole different discussion anyway, which contributes to why things are the way that they are. Everything happens for a reason. It can all go back to, like, decisions a shitty company does. But one of the byproducts of that is this food thing going on right here, where, like, God, even that ramen place at the Dream, it's so good. But then you get, like
$30?
Well, here's the thing. I got that. I got a side of gyoza. So I got, like, 6 pieces of gyoza, and I got, like, a large coffee specialty drink that they sell.
So you were going to eat feasting prices.
Just the ramen itself, and it's a big tub of ramen. It's like $15-$16.
Okay.
And it was good-ass ramen. So I guess it's reasonable. But the point is that I just wanted to bring that up, because I just think it's so insane that, like, the gap between cheap fast food that you need to buy when you're on a budget or you want to buy when you're on a budget is not that far off from like some of these like fancier or like, how should I say it?
Cheesecake Factory. I just use that as an example.
Generationally, quote unquote, fancier places, or like the kind of place you would splurge on a night out if you're like lower middle class or below, or like the Cheesecake Factory or some shit. You know?
I don't even care though. Cheesecake Factory's delicious. I don't give a fuck.
It is. It ain't bad. It ain't bad.
I just feel like shit afterwards. Like,
yeah.
Especially if you do get like a cheesecake by the end for dessert. Like, you really feel that cheesecake afterwards. It's a fucking lead weight amidst everything else you ate and the bread.
The ultimate nachos, though.
The ultimate nachos, my favorite from them. I guess, guys, if you want, post what you like from Cheesecake Factory in the comments. But
I guess I have Go ahead.
Oh, mine's my carbonara pasta. No, is it carbonara? It was like it's like Chipotle chicken pasta. It's pretty fucking good.
They have this one item there that I can't vouch for anymore because it put my ass to
novel
sleep.
Of a menu.
No, because it put my ass to sleep so bad because it had so much fucking MSG in it that it actually like made me legit sleepy. They have some sort of sesame chicken-ish thing there, or like this avocado sesame chicken side dish. It's delicious, but I don't eat it anymore because it literally puts my ass to sleep. The burgers are good though. They got really good burgers.
Burgers are good. They have some good fried mac and cheese. Yeah. That most fucking American ass thing ever, but like, you know, it was delicious. I love it. I
guess in the vein of like socioeconomic problems, another thing that's on my mind here, like to actually give us a topic. This has been on my mind recently because I'm not going to say what company that I work for, of course, and I'm not going to sit here to vent about my job, let alone personal things that happen in my job. That's for this guy to hear about, as we're
here to like entertain you guys, not to like, you know, have you guys listen to. Well, I mean, you know, we like when it comes to at least like, let's say sob stories, for example, it's just like, you know, at least we like to think it's most of the time like stuff in relation to maybe something that's happening as far as a topic goes. But, you know, at least, you know, when you guys tune in on Fridays, I'm pretty sure you guys don't want to be listening to us like, you know, just be like, boo-hoo.
It doesn't make good content, and it's not healthy for any party involved.
Yeah,
it's not healthy for us to vent to people that can't respond to us. It's not healthy for them to hear that and get in a worse mood about it. And you and I aren't really the biggest doomers in the world. We just like to like vent about some of the things that make the world burn.
We vent at an adequate amount.
Yeah.
Because I think there are those who can be very long-winded with it and like kind of just talk for like an hour and 30 about whatever they're dooming about. Like us. And then obviously like, you know, that just kind of runs its course like pretty quick.
Yes. So I'm going to get all doom and gloom right now, actually. I'm not going to say what company that I work for that is making me think this, but a lot of their products, and especially a lot of their newer products, they're very gung-ho on artificial intelligence. And here's the thing, right? Like I'm not going to say I'm against progress, because I'm not.
Yeah.
But like any new technology, you know, that promises this utopia, like those like fucking video of Mark Zuckerberg and his wife that he posted saying like, yeah, it's gonna be amazing. You know, AI is gonna cure all these diseases, and it's gonna be like the cure or causation to climate change. They say all these things and they promise these things. Then what they actually do is they just come for our jobs and replace jobs, so like the people at the top have to pay less money and save money in wages. The CEOs of all these like big tech companies and shit, they're not even hiding it when they're interviewed about it. They say straight up like, yeah, this will definitely like help our bottom dollar, and it will fuck, what was the way that they phrased it in some of those videos that I saw? Like, one of them said, like, yeah, like, this is a really bad thing if you look at it from a human perspective.
Yeah.
Fucking dickhead. Dumbass tech bro. Hate those fucking stupid pricks. The kind of people who, like, basically don't understand that, like, new technology isn't always good, and just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. The kind of people who watch Jurassic... though. Yeah, like, the kind of people who, like, you know, claim to be super intelligent and then watch Jurassic Park and, like, can't grasp the simple fucking concept of that movie, that just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. And I'm saying that in regards to what this company is doing with AI. And again, I'm not going to say I'm against progress. You can do some pretty amazing things with AI, you know, more accurate health tracking.
We've said it before too. Like, we know it's capable of great things. Yeah, but it's like, that's also it's still in the hands of a human being though. It can't fucking do anything without our input. It's the same as like any computer. It's like, yeah, the computer is capable of great things, but if we don't input shit, it doesn't do anything.
That's what I'm getting at. Because you can do some pretty amazing things with it. Like, you know, live translate on phone calls, including even landlines, where your voice will come out in the language that they have it set to, which is really, really cool. You know, you can talk into it. It's not like Google Translate where like it doesn't get the grammar right. AI, it's like way more
Ever right.
Yeah, with live translating AI and stuff, it makes it way more intelligent. The things you could probably do with medicine with artificial intelligence is great. What we've spoken about on the show before that I'm way more adamantly against, I guess I should say, and it's one of the things that makes me a little more uncomfortable at work nowadays, would be generative AI, which is like the photo editing things that you can do with it, and generating photos of AI with things like, you know, Copilot that Microsoft has, or OpenAI, or, you know, whatever those things are on the internet, you know, that just generate images for you by typing in a prompt. It's
so if you guys want a Webster dictionary definition of it, it's generative AI is a type of artificial intelligence technology that can produce various types of content, including text, imagery, audio, and synthetic data. The recent buzz around generative AI has been driven by the simplicity of a new user interfaces for creating high-quality text, graphics, and videos in a matter of seconds. Which, you know, at this stage of the game, it's still very much kind of in its infancy. But, you know, if unchecked, obviously, this is just going to continue to grow more powerful as, like, you know, like at least the technology is going to continue to grow more powerful as the years go on. Yeah. Continue, David. Sorry.
No, you're good. Thank you. That was supplemental. You don't got to apologize to me for none. If anything, I apologize to you for filling you up with too much Gyro King.
Nah, that was delicious. I want to get filled up with more Gyro King.
I do too, but like I can't have that shit 2 nights in a row.
Yeah,
that's so stupid. Fair. I mean, I can. It's just a bad idea.
Yeah, just maybe don't, like, you know, maybe anyway. If there's any part of your brain that says don't do it, don't do it.
Yeah, anyway. Yeah, no, what was I saying? Generative AI, I think, is very unethical. Because what it basically is that it allows anybody to generate photos of literally anything they want at a whim's notice. This is like this is what we should have talked about at the beginning. This is like it's very holodeck-ish, if you would. It feels like that kind of like futuristic technology that, you know, seems like, you know, the kind of things of like tomorrow year that we'll have like in the future, but no, the future is now. And we're experiencing it right now, and technology has been evolving, like much like the economy, like has been evolving at such a fast rate that, you know, we can't keep up with it. Let alone our fucking legislators who don't know anything about it, who are like our only, or in my opinion, our only real big saving graces against the companies who are going to use this thing to get rid of jobs, which is a whole different, sort of a whole different topic, really. But the reason I'm bringing this up is because I have to like promote it at my work, and among many of the other reasons that I don't. You know, that job is, you know, not the greatest job I've ever worked, while not being the worst. It's the fact that I'm uncomfortable promoting it, because generative AI is very unethical. You can make pictures of whatever you want, and humans should not have that kind of power, right? Not only for the reason that, you know, it will put actual artists out of work, like freelance artists, and like even ones that work for companies out of work, because companies all of a sudden don't need them, because they can just type in a prompt to get a picture of whatever they want instead of getting like art for it instead, which they got from actual artists. That's the thing about AI. It doesn't know how to create on its own. It literally can only steal, because you can't
steal and meld and mold to whatever like kind of you kind of need it for too as well.
Can't create things off of a whim. It has to find things off of the internet that it scours and steals from actual like hardworking artists that put their stuff online through their expression and their creativity that, you know, is now fed into an algorithm that they didn't consent to like their art being put into, and now all of a sudden it puts them out of work. Which a lot of new technologies come around to put them out of work, and every president says the same thing, like, you know, now we can retrain these employees to adapt to the new technology. Joe Biden literally said in one of his speeches recently that like if you know how to shovel coal into like a fucking like furnace, you can learn how to program, which was insane. That he said that, like, actually insane.
It's insane, but I'm always kind of like not how do you say, like I think people are capable of learning anything. It's just obviously for some others, like, you know, when it comes to like depending on like what you learned before and what it is you're learning now, if the difference is so fucking huge that like, you know, going from a coal miner to like learning how to program, it's like, you know, obviously like the gap is very much there. But I mean, you know, me even coming from a history background, like, you know, I learned how to at least like, you know, work with computers and such. But that's not even that much of a valuable skill anymore at this point, because like, you know, I feel as if even like little Timmy from fucking high school probably like knows how to also work with computers too. If he really put his mind to it, he probably could do it.
No, what are you talking about? He's a
No.
He's a prompt engineer now. That's what they're calling these fucking people who can type in words into a box.
My point is though, is that I feel as if like, you know, as far as like Bo Jiden's whole shit about like, you know, oh, if you're a coal miner, like if you can shovel coal into a furnace, like you can learn how to program. I also, you know, commenting on that, like kind of what he said, it's like, but we're still gonna, you know, need coal miners. We're gonna still need guys who work oil rigs. We're like, I think it's just like, obviously everything is just so technology heavy now, and it is very much true that, you know, yeah, it is. I think everyone kind of knows it now. Like, I almost feel like from schools specifically nowadays, it's like you gotta have a pretty good like technology sort of curriculum for, you know, this new generation coming in, because that's just going to be the way of things, like going down the line.
That's the danger.
And that is the danger, but that's why I'm saying like there's also got to be ton of ethics kind of taught as well, because that also sometimes is very dependent on like the school district, like kind of where they stand politically on that whole shit. But but that's why I'm saying like, you know, when it comes to like, you know, like they should be, but I also know for a matter of fact that most districts are probably never gonna be like I guess, you know, more tempered when it comes to teaching this stuff, because like of course like, you know, with the kids, with wherever like the current generation is now, like, you know, being in school and like them learning about all this shit, and like them just kind of being even like bombarded with information like, you know, every day because of like TikTok and such, and even AI being like very much this like kind of slumbering beast at the current moment. Like it is very much like a beast, but like it's not one that's like really kind of like spread its wings too much at the moment. Like,
the sleeping dragon is starting to be awoken, my friend, because in several school districts across the country, including one Westfield, New Jersey, there are children charged and convicted, high school students, with creating artificial intelligence porn of one of their classmates and passing it around the school.
Oh.
This happened in Westfield.
Oh boy. Shit.
Do you see, like, the problem with just dumping this technology on the public? We can't be responsible with this shit.
I know, that's what I'm saying. They should, but the reality is that, yeah, chances are it's not really gonna fucking happen.
Nah, you know, there should be ethics involved with, like, alcohol consumption as well, and people still drink and drive, and, you know, tens of thousands or however many people die to drunk drivers in this country every year. You can't just slap an ethics label on it and just expect some shit to change, or even
it has
teaching
to just
ethics.
It has to just go beyond that too, is what I'm saying. Like, you know, it's
and our
that's like the
legislators
bare
don't know
minimum.
shit.
Yeah.
They probably can't even spell AI. Dude, I've seen the interviews about it. They don't know nothing about it either, because they're all a bunch of like old white dudes and white women who don't know fucking anything about the newer generation, let alone being bought and paid for or whatever by fucking just by fucking billionaires and shit. It's just like, the reason I'm bringing this up is because, like, you know, beyond the fact of it taking jobs, I'm not comfortable promoting generative AI because the only purpose of it is to deceive people. It can't do anything else. I even like used one of the computers from the company that has those features now, and I typed it in, and like, so I typed some stuff in, like, oh, give me a picture of a dog or whatever, and I saw the pictures of the dog that it fed to me, and I'm like, we are all going to hell. We are all going to hell. It was too good looking, and like there is like sort of an AI like glare or like an AI stink where you can tell an image is like AI now, but even eventually that's gonna change. And you know, this whole podcast could have been like AI generated and you don't even know. So I think one thing they're talking about doing is like having like not regulating AI in the sense that like, you know, we like gotta limit what you can do with it because that seems way like less practical. Legally, you have to label something as being AI generated.
Oh yeah, that's a good first step at least.
That's a good first step at the very least. That would make me a little bit more comfortable with promoting stuff like that. Because
there's got to be repercussions if you don't. Like, maybe not jail time, but you should be fined. Like, definitely it should be falling under like the whole plagiarism sort of kind of code of laws that they have for that.
Plagiarism, like, coercion, I should say. Well, no, not coercion.
And
that's
intellectual
not the right word.
property theft and
Intellectual property
manipulation.
theft or manipulation, or what is it? Intention to deceive, which I don't even think is what it's legally called. There's a fancier legal term for it. I don't know what it is. Forgive me, I'm not a lawyer.
Yeah.
But, just the way it is now, it's just not okay. And I'm just uncomfortable because, like, these companies just push it out. Isn't this such a cool thing that this has? And it's like, just because it's new, that doesn't mean it's fucking cool. That doesn't mean it's good.
Yeah.
Again, there's a whole movie about bringing dinosaurs back. How fucking cool is that? It's a dumbass fucking idea. Why would you bring this thing that's more powerful than us back? Like, am I crazy? I don't think I'm crazy.
No.
I don't think I am at all. So
we love to create, like, human beings themselves, like, we love to create, invent, and, like, kind of even to a certain extent, like, improve on whatever we have available. We just always want to make things better, I suppose. But we also kind of fall into that trap of, like, how far is too far. And even from, like, sci-fi kind of books that I've read, in the Dune series, for anyone who, like, knows anything about that, in the lore of it, there is before the story that we know of with Paul takes place, 10,000 years before, there was a whole war against machines that they fought, and humans actually did win that war, but the consequences was that, like, they never used AI to that extent again, and they never ever decided to, like, kind of go down that path ever again, because of the fact that, like, there's, like, a code that they made about that whole, like, kind of making a machine, like, have the thoughts and feelings and mind of a man is, like, almost practically heretical in, like, that whole universe, and, like, they just don't do it no more. They've even, like, it, because the story itself is so human focused that, like, they've made it so that even human beings could have, like, the processing power of a supercomputer. Like, they themselves, like, can do, like, all those crazy calculations, like, by themselves without any help of, like, a computer. Like, very much kind of, like, showing the potential of human beings, given the chance to kind of evolve, I suppose.
Yeah.
And Frank Herbert, at least, like, through a good chunk of that whole story, who was the author of Dune, for anyone who knows, like, is very much kind of a warning sign, like, that whole bit of lore, in that, like, our reliance on robots, or even, let's say, AI, is only going to lead to, like, maybe not, like, a downfall, I suppose, but it's definitely dangerous to go down that path.
Yeah, we're not Star Trek yet, where, like, we know how to use this kind of shit responsibly. We can't invent the holodeck, because if we do, people will never leave.
Yeah.
I will make 6 Christina Hendrickses in bikinis feed me ice cream on a throne while 3 of them are giving me a blowjob. Why would I ever go back to reality after that? Are you kidding me? You see what I mean?
There's no reason to leave, yeah.
There's no reason to leave at all, unless you just to get money to pay your holodeck bills or to pay your electricity bills so you can keep using it. I don't know. But, it just... I use that example because, like, I feel like there are certain things we should not invent. And I feel like we're just, like, crossing that threshold with AI and just going gung-ho with it because it's the trend. It's the latest thing. Because companies know that it's only good for the people at the top and it's a net bad for literally everyone else.
If used irresponsibly, which they're going to do. Like,
less
is what
money,
we're saying. Like,
less employees they have to pay. Less employees that they have to pay means less money for the government. The government loses out on money for that as well through the taxes for employers or whatnot, or the taxes that they have to pay on them and whatnot. They lose money that way. The citizens lose jobs. We won't even be able to buy all these new AI features because people aren't going to be able to afford them anymore. So it's not even a net gain for the companies in the long run. It only helps the people at the top who get to fire employees because this shit aren't going to be our personal assistants. Like, it's a new technology that's rising at a rate that's so much more rapidly than any other one that is set to be able to replace jobs. It's already doing that for artists. Voice actors have been fired and recast by artificial intelligence already. Artists have already. There are certain things that I feel like we just should not invent. Think about teleportation if teleportation actually existed. Airlines, gone. Trains, gone. The entire automotive industry, the backbone of the fucking world, Gone. What about the mail carriers? UPS? Fucking, UPS, FedEx or whatever? They would have to adapt and just like start teleporting their packages everywhere, which why would you have to do that if you could just go to a store and buy one? Or maybe you could like send it somewhere else to have shit teleported. You see what I mean? It's like, so many ideas of the future. I'm not saying they're all bad, but some of them are really not good. But there's like this fucking addiction or like fetish, I should say. Dare I say fetish of like, we can do this, so we should. And this is amazing because it's so futuristic and cool. And, I hate to say the age-old notion, but like your scientists became so obsessed with the idea of whether or not they could that they never stopped to think if they should. And AI is the example of that.
They also don't think they're not playing with fire.
No, some of them do. One of the CEOs of, I believe it was Microsoft, the Microsoft AI CEO, or it might have been OpenAI, I think it was OpenAI CEO, literally compared AI and AI's potential to the creation of fire and electricity. That this is going to be bigger, like a bigger net good for humanity than fire and electricity. Maybe we're in the early stages of AI, but I do not fucking believe that. Considering, like, fire never took anybody's job. The caveman didn't have no job. His job was unga bunga, bonk a lady on head, drag her back to cave. And nowadays, women can bonk men on the head as well, drag them back to the cave. Like Dennis has said on the show before, equal rights, equal bonks. But, electricity, people, it only created jobs, right? I imagine maybe it took some, I guess.
It took the guy who always lit the street lamps at night.
Wow.
Job.
Poor bastard.
So it technically did steal someone's job. But
I guess.
Yeah, but it did. Obviously, it opened the way for more jobs to because like being an electrician during that time was just you could make good money off of that. Like
heating, fucking indoor heat. No heating, indoor heating. Like your house being warm. Like the many things that we just take for granted nowadays. Indoor lighting. This fucking podcast. I mean, like, all these things couldn't be done without that.
Indoor lighting that wasn't gaslit.
Yeah.
Mind you. Which was the main cause of house fires a lot of times.
And AI, I guess, could do things that couldn't be done before, but I feel like it's maybe it's like recency bias, or like, I'm not a historian,
could
you
be.
are. It could be recency bias on my end, truly. Maybe I'm thinking like I'm a little more biased because it's new, and I'm thinking this is only going to take more jobs than do good for humanity. Maybe we'll have to wait and see. But I don't know. With the way things are now, with like how skewed the wealth gap is, and just the late stage...
And also how we know they're not going to be using it for altruistic purposes. Like, they could fucking preach to the high heavens that like, oh, we're going to be using this for the good of the world and blah, blah. But it's like, but I always know, like, if there is like hella money involved, I'm not even talking little money. I'm talking hella money. If there's hella money involved, they're going to go the avenue that's going to, get them the most money. I think it's like maybe, one could even just say like that's a very gross oversimplification of like that whole like kind of phenomenon. But I also still think it's true. Like because that industry now is just growing. It's going to be $1 trillion industry. It probably is $1 trillion industry at this point now. Yeah. And like, as long as like they got like that sort of money, like, involved, they're going to always go the route that's just going to create them more money. There's no fucking way they're going to go any other route other than that. And, it's the reason why, like, people, like, even fucking, sorry guys, we're going to be wrapping it up here a bit, but, like, even Uncle Ben has said, like, great power comes with great responsibility. And it's the same even for when you are a person at the top who wields this sort of power. But we also know they're not going to ever be wielding this responsibly. We just know. And like even further down the line, like, I always, way back when at least, like, I said, like, as long as like AI is just kind of used in a very supplementary sort of role, then it's just like, okay, like, I don't really think we have anything to worry about. But, maybe like we haven't really like, we've started to kind of see that like, obviously that's not really sort of the case. And like, it's more meant to be the thing, not the thing that's going to help us. But, like, it's like, sorry for like, I guess like getting on like a bit of a somber note there, but I think definitely like the fight maybe further down the line is definitely going to be that, we have to ensure, like, years down the line that whatever legislation is going to be drafted up to kind of like, curb this, like we have to like make sure that it's going to curb it in a way where it's like, it's not even that I don't want AI to thrive. It's more so that like, I just kind of want it to be used in a responsible way. And I think at least that's way more kind of easier to sell than to curb it entirely. Because I don't think that's ever going to happen. But again, if we at least have like some red tape involved where, okay, like it just can't cross, then fine. I feel as if, okay, then to a certain extent, we won't have anything to worry about. The whole thing that David mentioned of how like, okay, like any AI art has to be labeled as AI art. That's a great first step. Like, they should have probably done that fucking years before. But like, or like not years before, I guess like, whatever, when AI art was starting to become like a really big thing, like, they should have kind of drafted that up immediately. But, again, like this whole thing, politically speaking too, is just so murky that like most legislators too, like they need tons of people to tell them what the fuck anything is when it comes to AI. And like, because they have no idea what the fuck it is. They really don't. These, like as David even said too, like these guys are so old. They're so fucking just not even in the 21st century to a certain extent at this point in time. Like they're so just kind of like not, don't really like, I guess, have their ears to the ground when it comes to a lot of this stuff. And like, they'll just hear kind of whatever their staff tells them, like what AI is and such. And because like, they're not going to try to go and understand it. Maybe one politician will, maybe. But like, as far as the good majority of them, like they're not really going to be making the effort to really truly understand it. Because like, they don't care enough, I feel. Because like, as long as like, I get money from this whole shit, why the fuck would I care? No one's going to replace... No, like AI is not going to replace politicians. They know that too. I almost feel as if the whole like job security kind of is like very much like, a reason why like they don't give a fuck, because it's like, you're not going to ever like replace a senator with a computer. It's never going to happen. And so like, that's why like for them, it's like, oh, well, my job's secure. I don't give a fuck. As long as I get money, who gives a fuck? Like, I'll just continue to do what I've been doing.
We were told that, in the future, machines will replace all the menial jobs that nobody wants to do, and will leave humans to focus on their careers or the arts or the things that, the things that, they want to do, their dream jobs. And instead, it's replacing the dream jobs. And the lower level, like, wage working, like, slave wage level jobs are the ones that get stuck with. I'm gonna end it on that. Yeah, in a job market, that's already, rough being what it is. It's just, I don't think it's what the world needs right now. I think we need to, find some different ways around it. So, ending on a bit of a somber note, but it's a somber day outside. It's rainy, so we're gonna let that go by the wayside.
If by Friday when this comes out, it's also kind of like a somber mood outside, like, we're sorry.
I'm not. That's how I'm feeling right now. Just sometimes that's how it be in this bitch of a world.
But it's Friday, like, come on.
Sometimes the Gyro King, sits right, and sometimes it's, it explodes out your asshole like the fucking rocket nozzle from Mario Sunshine. It's just the way it is.
It's a two-way street.
It's a two-way street. We hope you guys enjoyed. Do your own research about it too. I'd say check out the Daily Show's quip about it. That's what got me thinking about it today, and I was thinking about it before anyway.
And for any of you guys also who's kind of working towards like working in AI, like just kind of maybe like kind of take some of the stuff that we kind of said to you as well. Like, there's got to be responsible people that are in charge of this, and if maybe down the line that could be you, like, that would be like very beneficial, not even just to you, like, but to everyone else as well. Like, it's just one of those things that like I feel as if you can't just let run rampant for that much longer. It's just too dangerous to do so. But again, like, if that is your passion, like, again, like, obviously I'm not saying don't do it, go for it, of course, but just again, like, just know, like, just have some responsibility attached to it as well. And like, I think everything will be very much better for the most part, at least. So that's at least my sense on that. Here's our plugs and such, generated by AI, of course. Fucking youtube.com/Nintoonist. You can catch us there. could like watch us on YouTube, hear us on YouTube, go on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, all the different fucking places you may think of to go and listen to a podcast. We appreciate all like the love you guys been giving us for the last couple episodes. Trying to be a little more positive here, considering like we kind of ended a bit somberly. But thank you again, guys, for like at least the continued love and support. And at the very least, the best thing, like, the most I can at least say to you guys is like, thank you, and hope you all have a good weekend ahead. And we'll see you guys, I guess, next week. If you are an AI engineer, you're trying to strive to be one, like, go for it. But just, again, of course, just be a bit more responsible, like, and kind of just take what we said over here from two idiots from Jersey. Maybe not to heart, but just kind of keep it in mind. So, hope you all have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week. And go check out Gyro King. It's a great place. Give it 5 stars, all that shit. It's fucking delicious. AI can't make food. Remember that. They can't make real food. Only human beings can make real food. Excuse you.